profiles and perspectives.
You are listening to Profiles and Perspectives with Darswell Rogers, profiling interesting people and exploring perspectives perhaps you've never considered.
And welcome to Profiles and Perspectives with Darswell Rogers. Every time I listen to that lead in, I have to chuckle. I asked my sisters and niece to do a little something for me. And when they heard that on the radio, they said, we were just joking around. We didn't expect that to actually be linked into the program. So I want to give them a quick shout out this morning. They're all on the West Coast. Welcome to, I'm your host, Darswell Rogers. And as many of you who listen regularly know that this is a reformatting of the program. I was in the Grow Your Business Today structure for well over 10 years and decided that I really wanted to, because I was talking about a broad cross-section of topics anyway, that I wanted to be able to share and have conversations about interesting and unique situations and interesting and unique people. And I am truly hoping that you as my audience will help me to find these voices and these interesting stories. And I'm asking you to share them with me via email at the email profile.perspectives@gmail.com, profile.perspectives@gmail.com. And in keeping with that theme, I am so pleased to welcome this morning's guest, Miss Shelley Whizin. Shelley is an author. She is a trainer. She is a life coach. She is a death midwife. She has just a broad spectrum of insights and information, and she has been a wonderful friend of mine for several years. And so, Shelley, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Dars. I'm so happy. I'm always happy to talk to you and always happy to be here. Thank you.
So today, and just so you know, Shelley and I, we pretty much have a conversation once a week, just talking about our clients. We're talking about opportunities. We're talking. We are, as she coined and I have adopted, we are friends for life. And so in the midst of our conversation, I guess it was a week ago, what we were saying we thought was so incredibly interesting. We need to record some of this. And then in our conversation yesterday, it was quite literally, okay, what did we say we wanted to talk about? And so today, the topic of the conversation is, how do we become a better version of ourselves? How do we become a better version of ourselves? I talk to my clients all the time about how do you increase the capabilities of an organization is you elevate the people inside the organization. You challenge the people to become better versions of themselves. And that if they become better at being who they could be, the organization must naturally become more effective. And so we don't want to look at this today from an organizational point of view. We want to look at this today from the point of view of what are the things, what are the aspirations, what are the areas in your personal life that you have already identified as opportunities to get better? How do you become a better version of that person? And so, Shelley, I'm going to allow you to kick this off because, let me just note, you've actually got a program coming up that kind of fits perfectly into this. So talk about what your program is, and then let's talk about broadly what you see in this area.
All right. I have the very first live 3-day challenge to a better life. So when you told me that's what you wanted to talk about, I thought, oh my God, how could it be any more perfect? Because having a better life in all areas, first of all, I just want to say that the word better is one of my favorite words. I am a word person, and the word better connotes progress. And what happens when you feel better, if I have a client, I always ask them, was this helpful? Do you feel better from before you called till now? Do you feel better? And I mean, I can always tell that they do by the tone in their voice.
Mm.
And so when they say, yes, I feel better, they're almost surprised. Like, wow, I do feel better. And I always give them a standing ovation, because just the point of feeling better helps our self-esteem. It helps our confidence. It helps us realize that life is a process. Not everything happens all at one time. It does happen in spiritual time, but it doesn't happen necessarily in physical time. And there is a difference between physical time and spiritual time. And so when you feel better about something, it means something has shifted in your mind. And when it shifts in your mind, you take something that maybe you didn't believe, and we'll talk about beliefs, and it loosened up the grip on a belief that keeps you feeling negative. It loosens up that grip. And I've got some tricks up my sleeve that I help people loosen up their grip on whatever it is that they're believing, if it's limiting. If it's a limiting belief about themselves or about the world or about each other that just keeps them running on automatic, I've got some tricks that actually help us get out of that. And then we detach from the limiting statement. So
can I stop you for a second? Because you said
yes,
something
always.
that I just piqued. So let's talk about the difference between spiritual time and limiting and physical time. That was a pretty powerful comment that you made there. And I just don't want that to slide by without a dive there. So we're having a conversation talking to Miss Shelley Whizin. She's my guest this morning. We're talking about how to become a better version of yourself. So when you say change in spiritual time versus physical time, what do you mean?
Okay. In spiritual time, and again, every single thing in life is based on a belief, right? Everything.
Yes.
So my belief is that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. That's one, and that's a big topic just in itself.
Yes.
Spiritual time is time we don't see. It's the ethereal time where the past, present, and future happen all at one time in the proverbial now, in the now. Everything is now. Have you ever been to New York? Of course you have.
Yes.
I'm asking that. And you've been to a show. I'm going to give you a perfect example of this.
Yeah.
So can you imagine yourself sitting in one of the theaters? Just pick a show that you've seen.
The Lion
You there?
King. The Lion
King. All right. So you're sitting in the theater and you're watching The Lion King and you can't believe it. I mean, it's a treat for your senses. It's a treat for everything. And you're sitting there and you're watching all the actors and you're watching the costumes and you're listening to the music and you're sitting in there and you can feel the excitement of being in that theater right here and right now, right?
Absolutely.
You don't need to go buy a ticket, get on the airplane, get a taxi, book a hotel, find the theater, and go. You don't need to go through the physical aspects of experiencing that. You can do it right here, right now.
Yes.
That's spiritual time. It happens all in the now. Physical time is you have to call the travel agent or you have to book your ticket. You have to get on the airplane. It takes time. You have to land. You have to get a taxi. You have to go to the train. Whatever it is that you need to do in order to get there, that's physical time, earth time. Earth time takes longer than spiritual time. That's what I mean.
And thank you. And I got it. And so the real dynamic here as it relates to coming to this notion of becoming a better version of yourself is people have this perception there's amount of time that is required in order for it to happen. And while that is true, that there's amount of time, that we have the capacity to collapse that amount of time and bring it more into the now. And the reality is that there are certain things that you can literally, with the snap of a finger, with the snap of a finger, you can go from one set of beliefs to another set of beliefs. And
Yes.
a classic example is, people have had certain experiences in their life. It's a horrific one would be, somebody threw me in a swimming pool, and I felt like I was going to drown. I'm never getting in the swimming pool again. That was a instantaneous decision that I'm going to do something different. You have a physical, a heart attack or whatever, and boom, you say, you know what? I'm at this moment, I'm never going to smoke again. I have changed the foundations of who I said I was from one reality to another reality through a manifestation that took milliseconds versus taking weeks and weeks and months and years and years.
That's right. And the key ingredient to what you just said is to be aware of what do you believe? So check in with our beliefs. Half the time we don't check in with what's running us, and we just run on automatic. So there are some limiting beliefs that are running us that keep us not as great as we could be, right? Maybe one of the limiting beliefs is I'm not good enough. And
that's
so
that's a very common limiting belief. Almost everybody has that at some level on some topic.
Exactly. We all have it on some level on some topic. Exactly right. But if we don't stop and go, what do I believe about that? And ask yourself, what is it that I believe about that? Where did I pick up that belief? Was it even mine? Sometimes we pick up limiting beliefs from our parents as children because of their limiting beliefs and the way they were conditioned by their parents, and they just pass it on again as an automatic thing. They think they're doing the right thing. They don't want us to get hurt. So they limit our ability to dream, or they say, don't dream too big. You don't want to set yourself up for failure. Maybe you can't do that. Just kind of keep it toned down, keep it within the realm of what you're capable of doing, which is really saying you're not capable of dreaming big because you don't have the goods.
Right.
And so we take that on as children and we live it out. And so what's important here is to be able to stop, be aware of what is it that is running us, and question what the belief is saying to us. Is it true? Is it not true? If it's true, you see, it's interesting. The ego wants to protect us, really, in a way. There's lots of things that the ego does that are beneficial to us. But sometimes the ego gets us in trouble because it wants to be right all the time. It's the ego versus the heart. The heart wants to be loved all the time and wants to love all the time and wants to see love all the time. The ego wants to be right, and pride and anger and all those kind of emotions are what drives the ego. And sometimes the ego makes, pride and anger more important than love. And to me, again, belief, there is nothing more important than love. And what is love? Love is God. Love is the universe. Love is faith. Love is all those things that make us compassionate people, that make us caring people, that make us thoughtful people, that make us excited people. Because
you're spot on here. So I want to now circle back because you were about to talk about your program, but I just had to, you brought that spiritual physical dynamic in there, and I did not want that concept to go. So talk a little bit about the program that you've got coming up.
I'm doing my very first live 3-day challenge to a better life on March 29th, 30th, and 31st. It's a perfect way to end March. And the whole concept is, how do we have a better life? What are the things that we want to be better in and want to feel better about? And how do we go about doing that? And so do you want me to share the slide?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's see if I can do that without, let me see if it goes here. And it goes here. Let me go here. Can you see it?
I can.
You can?
Yes.
Oh, yay, it worked. I'm so excited. Okay, so that it's a better life challenge. And what we're going to do on the first day, which is, let me see how we can.
And my apologies for my radio audience. We're kind of doing this
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
both
But
ways, but
first,
you'll be able to find this on my
wait,
Facebook and on
where-
my YouTube channels. But
how in the world? Why is it not moving? It's not moving,
well,
darn.
just go ahead and talk to it then, Shelley.
Okay, I'll just tell you about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, on day one, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the one thing that holds you back from a better life. And I'm going to share the 3 essential steps to transform anything, and literally, I mean anything in your life. And a simple phrase, which I love this phrase, I'll tell you about it later, to change your negative self-talk. So that's on day one, and then we'll have some challenges. And then on day 2, we're going to talk about new empowering beliefs and a vision for your better life and an action plan. And on day 3, we're going to discover your own internal compass, identify your self-sabotaging behaviors, and guess what? Hear your own soul's whisper, which I love. I'm going to bring you through a meditation. And then guess what? Learn how to create another one of my favorite sayings, how to create a yummy, delicious life. And that's a program that I've got coming up. It's a digital online course. And I can stop sharing now. We can come back. And
what's notable about what you're sharing there, Shelley? We're talking with Shelley Whizin, author, trainer, and life coach. Is there's some foundational essence to becoming a better version of yourself, and what you pretty much walk through there in your. And it's what, 90 minutes the first day? It's 90 minutes, then an hour, right? So you're asking people to basically invest 2 to 3.5 hours of time to kind of get the essence of what is necessary to become a better version of who you are today. And what's so fascinating is people sit in a rut. They operate under this, I like to call it that's just the way who I am, or that's just the way I am mindset, with this presumption that they are stuck, that they have no capacity to do something different. And I focus on this from the organizational point of view, but I've come to realize that you can't move the organization if you can't move the people. And so that's why it is so incredibly powerful. I use different words and different terminologies, but the essence of what you say and what I say are like spot on. So let's go back to what you talked about. So what I'd like to do then here is we got about 3 minutes for the break here at the bottom of the hour, but let's take day one. What are the essence that you do on day one? And let's go through that now, and then we'll take the other 3 pieces and we'll kind of ham and egg it, because I say the exact same thing, but some different people need to hear it differently, and that's the value that you bring, because you mirror back to me my own ideas sometimes better than I can articulate them to myself.
As do you me. So.
Yes. So talk through what's this first the first segment. What are the topics again?
Okay, well, the first day basically is, what is that one thing that's holding you back? Okay. And guess what that is? It's a belief.
Yes.
We are attached to our beliefs, and we think our beliefs are real. But guess what? Beliefs are thoughts. They're like clouds. They're like leaves on a tree that fall in the fall or grow in the spring. They're just thoughts, and they're just beliefs. It's the meaning we put behind the belief that makes it real or not. And the body responds to the belief, even if it's not real. So if it's a negative belief that's running us, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, blah, 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 right? We overcompensate our inadequacies by being more than what we think we are. And sometimes we become a little obnoxious with it and we overpower things. So the first crux is being aware of the belief.
So let's talk about some examples of that. An example of that is, well, I'm just a nervous eater. You know, I'm overweight because I'm a nervous eater. I just, you know, it's like, that's just who I am. It is like, you know, when somebody says, it just triggers me, you know, they said something and it just triggered me. And I had no choice but to lash back when somebody did something. That's a belief that they're holding, that they do not have the capacity to control their emotional state. Another one I heard recently was, well, I feel like this is my kids' time. This is my kids' time. So I'm subordinating what I would want to do because I feel like I'm supposed to give them, but you know, versus, hey, why can't we all evolve together? It's you know,
Exactly.
I you know, at the end of the day, I'm so exhausted, I can't do anything else. Really? Is
Right.
that so? You can't do anything else. You know,
Right.
I can't get up early. You know, so when we're talking about, I just can't, you know, I until I have a cup of coffee, don't even talk to me. I can't deal with it.
There you
Those are
go.
all
All.
examples of bull. They're all bull. Okay, I'm not using the second part of that.
Oh, that's
It's
a good
bull.
word. Beliefs.
Beliefs. Yes, they're all beliefs.
Bulleifs.
So listen,
Beliefs.
we're gonna take a break here at the bottom of the hour. I'm talking to my guest Shelley Whizin. We're talking about how to become a better version of yourself. We'll be back after the break. You're listening to Profiles and Perspectives with Darswell Rogers. And welcome back to the second half hour of Profiles and Perspectives with Darswell Rogers. My guest is Ms. Shelley Whizin, author, trainer, and life coach. And we're talking about how to become a better version of yourself. And we ended up the last section saying that these limiting beliefs that we have are in effect bull, or as Shelley then coined, they're bull leafs, which
Love that.
was spot on. And it just so happens, totally by coincidence, that we decided to pick this topic. And Shelley's got a program that starts coming up this at the end of March. And what's your program called again, Shelley?
It's called the 3-day challenge, the Better Life Challenge. Live 3 days, yeah.
And so
Yeah.
what we decided, because what we find is that people, information comes to us, but you've got to hear it in a certain way. And not everybody hears things the same way. Shelley and I fundamentally talk to our clients about the same topics, but we rarely use the same words. We come at it from our life experiences. And so when we began to talk about becoming a better version of yourself, we were talking about what was going to be covered in the first day of your program. And let's go back to that. And we've got, about 20 minutes left here. I want to be sure that we cover kind of all three, because it really gets back down to the essence of, okay, how do you make this change? So we don't want to leave people hanging. We want to kind of walk all the way through all the steps
I'm
and just
going to
share
share my screen.
our insights. Okay.
So here, day one, what we're going to do is the one thing that's holding you back from a better life, which is a belief, and it's also the 3 steps to transform any area of your life. And that is the magic essential formula truly for anything. And that is awareness, being aware, choice, and action. Those 3 elements, if you apply those 3 elements to anything in your life that's holding you back, that's keeping you sad or keeping you low or keeping you down, then you can change anything by those 3 essential steps.
So let's talk about them. Repeat what the 3 are. So if you want to transform anything in your life, you're saying do these 3 things. Let's talk about it. What are they again?
Being aware,
Yep.
You've got to be aware. How can we change anything if we're not aware of it? If we're on automatic and we're just going on and on and on and on and on, and then our automatic response is, well, that's just the way I am. That's just the way it is. That's just blah, 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 blah. We're never, ever going to change because we're stuck in a mindset that says that's just the way I am. And it's a limited mindset that does not allow us to get out because of these four levels of consciousness, which you and I have talked about. But you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you know what you don't know, and then you know what you know. So you've got to go through these different steps in order to shift something, in order to be aware. But being aware, being conscious is the most crucial part of the whole process. And then choice. You have a choice. Since we just talked about that beliefs are like the ether, they're like clouds in the sky, means that you don't have to believe it. I had two clients said to me something that just blew me away, and it's right. They didn't know they could change a belief. They didn't know they could change a belief. It was like eye-opening. It was world-changing for this one man who'd been in therapy over 30 years. He did not know he could change a belief. So that is a huge shift in a mindset. Once you understand you can change any belief, your life can change because there's an energy around holding on to a belief. And then this simple phrase that changes your negative self-talk. Oh, I got to tell you, and I'm going to share it with your audience, right? Up until now. Up until now. You can say any limited phrase about yourself. I am not good enough. I just don't have what it takes up until now.
So I was a nervous eater up until now. I thought that I couldn't get up early and exercise up until now. So you're basically have put a pin in the you said, okay, that was in the past. I've made a decision that today that was the old version of Darswell. Let me tell you about what the new version of Darswell is going to do, and there's the transition.
Right. And what happens when you say that is you detach from owning the statement. We get so proud to own our limiting statements. We almost fight for our limitations, and we fight to stay unhappy rather than fight to be and stay happy and joyous.
Because it's comfortable and it's knowable. Even if it's miserable, it's comfortable and it's knowable. And physiologically, we're not going to get into that because we can't cover my way I articulate in yours. We're going to stick with yours today. Okay, so that's day one. Let's flip because I don't want to run out of time here before you kind of get through these elements.
Okay, go on. Give me day two. Day two is choice. So those three elements: awareness, choice, action. Day two, we're going to talk about choice. When you a space supports a vacuum. So when you have, and you know this in NLP, when you are aware of a belief that's not working for you, you need to change it by a replacement belief that does work for you. So we talk about new empowering beliefs on day two. And we talk about the vision for your better life. What is it that you would rather have? What is it that you want to see? Then we take that notion we talked about before about spirit time, and we bring that into the present. You envision what you want. I take you through a meditation of feeling and elevated emotions and all the Joe Dispenza work that you and I have been working with. And we feel it now, the excitement of having it now, so we don't have to wait and use that other awful formula. When X happens, then I'll be happy, whatever the X is.
That's if it's like the person who's got very bad habits as it relates to their the way they manage their financials. Say, well, when I get money, I'll manage it better.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's why most people who won millions of dollars in the lottery are broke within 5 years, because they never developed the skill set necessary for them to do so. So I want to come back. Your first comment here was new empowering beliefs. I just want to connect this. So if you had a negative belief, which was I'm just a nervous eater. And
Yeah.
if you say I'm just a nervous eater up until now, so you have now
That's the
broken the
first step.
cycle. Now you have to replace that with a new belief, and that new belief can be something like I'm a healthy eater,
Right.
or I eat for nutrition and for my well-being. So what's the new thing that I'm going to say versus the old thing? And you can't just you have to replace it. You can't just say, I'm not going to do that anymore. You've got to give yourself an affirmative, something that is replacing the old, that you can hang on to, that you can repeat to yourself, that you can visualize, right?
Right.
Okay, so now you're down to this vision for a better life.
Right.
And talk and kind of share again what you said about the vision for a better life.
So then I'm going to bring you through a meditation, and you're actually going to hear your own. Are we doing that on day 3 or day 1? Whatever. I mean, that's okay. Yeah, we're going to talk about the vision for a better life. What do you want to have? I mean, we always talk about what we don't want. But in that law of attraction world, because the energy we put out, the law of attraction kind of gives it to us more. If we stop focusing on what we don't want and start focusing on what we do want and put energy towards what we do want, then there's more, like you say, opportunities are going to come. They're going to appear out of nowhere. They're going to be unexpected. There's going to be synchronicities. There's going to be serendipity. There's going to be coincidences. There's going to be unexpected surprises. There's going to be signs all over the place when you start becoming aware. Does that make sense?
100%. And this is just Romans 12:2, right? This is a renewing of your mind. You're not conforming to reality. You are renewing your mind. This coming up with new empowering beliefs, and then having a vision. And you talked about meditation, and what's so interesting, I just want to speak to the fact some folks kind of perceive meditation as being something that's tied to another religion, like an Eastern religion. When in reality, what meditation is to become familiar with. And you are spending time with yourself. You have visions and ideas that run around and around in your mind all the time. We need to replace the old ones with a new set of imagery. And so this new imagery, I can't read that. What does it say?
It says, quiet the mind and the soul will speak.
Okay.
So basically, meditation is quieting the mind of all that chatter and negative self-talk that we hear all the time, and saying, shh, shh, it's okay, shh, 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 and just allowing yourself to go into a different wave frequency. We're in beta, the brain's going da, 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 we're so busy, but it allows the brain to slow down, go into alpha, which is the state of receiving. And so we can receive certain messages within. It's living inside out rather than outside in.
Yes.
There's so many benefits to quieting the mind and going into meditation.
And so the dynamic here, because I've got an audience that's very familiar with the concepts of prayer and the value and the power of prayer.
Yeah.
The element that meditation brings to the equation, and what we talk about here is, now that we understand the way the body and the mind work, the power that the mind brings is you have to get away from the day-to-day stuff that worries you all the time, and come up with a strategy to shut that down, so you're not thinking about your bills, you're not thinking about your kids, you're not thinking about all those things, so that you can input into your thinking the new reality, right? And so meditation has been determined to be a very effective way of you creating the new reality, instead of continuing to repeat over and over and over and over, which is what we all do, our current state of affairs. So if the past and the future, if when you wake up in the morning, you think about the past and you perceive that yesterday is going to look like tomorrow, you're not breaking any cycles. So meditation, new beliefs, and then bringing a vision of a better life into the equation is what, in effect, you're articulating. So,
Exactly.
so then you're down to an action plan. So
That's right. And then we do the action plan and we talk about that. And then we go into come on. There we go. Oh, stay there. Day 3. So then what we talk about is that we each have our own internal compass. We each have that. We need to trust that, have faith in God, have faith in the direction that we have been given, have faith in the gifts that we've been given. We've been given gifts for a reason. There's an internal compass. I advocate living life from the inside out, not the outside in, where we go in and identify those self-sabotaging behaviors. How do we ruin our own life? How do we ruin our own experience? Part of what you said was so crucial, and I think I don't want to skip over it, because let me just demonstrate. If this is the past, right? And we're focusing on the past and we're walking into our future's over here like this. Yep. Where are we looking? We are not even looking at our future. We have to turn around, look towards the future, look towards what we want, not focus on what we don't want, because we just get more of it. And then we're at effect of everything around us to tell us we can't have what we want because we're not worthy, we don't deserve it, blah, 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 blah. We could go into all of that. This is where I bring people through a meditation where I get, they go into a place of quiet stillness, and they get to hear their own soul's whisper, whatever that is. Whatever the soul wants to yearn to do through their human. We each have a soul, we each have a spirit, and we each have a human body. That's why when I started it, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. Our spirit came here to experience being human through you, Dars, being human through me, being human through every single listener on this program. That's what animates us, our life force. Our breath we're actually inhaling God's exhale. If you can go back to the very beginning, Genesis, it says God breathed life into the nostrils of man. God breathed life into the nostrils of man. When we inhale through our nose, we are inhaling God's exhale. And what it means is that we're inhaling our own spirit, our own life force. That's what the word inspire comes from. The word spirit in Hebrew is to breathe in. I mean, don't get me started. We could go on a whole nother program about all of this. I get very excited about all this stuff. And then the whole thing leads to create a yummy, delicious life, which in the end, that's the digital online program that anybody can take at any time. And it has 6 modules, and it's put like all the years of experiences I've had into 6 modules, and it's impactful and powerful. And we have a bonus workbook, and there's so many things that go along with that program, which is also very exciting.
So we're having a conversation this morning with Miss Shelley Whizin, author, trainer, and life coach. The topic today was, how do we become a better version of ourselves? And it just happened that Shelley's actually got a 3-day live program. It's 3.5 hours total, and it's called the Better Life Challenge. And Shelley, if somebody wanted to get information about this program, where would they go?
Yes, that's a really good question. I wonder if she gave me, my producer, did she give me a link for that, for the land?
We'll keep this simple.
Why don't you just email me?
Yeah, okay. What's the email address?
Shelley, Shelley, at Shelley Whizin, WHIZIN.com.
So the other options too are that you've got a Facebook page. They can post to your
I've
Facebook
got a
page.
Facebook. Oh, we have a Facebook page. Wait a minute. We do have a Facebook page, and that's where you can go to sign up, I believe. Let me stop sharing and let me go to the Facebook page. Yeah.
But you can in effect find Shelley Whizin at Shelley at Shelley Whizin, and it's kind of interesting. WHIZIN Whizin,
Right.
.com.
Right.
The essence of what you said, I want to go back and talk about this idea of a yummy, delicious life, because that sounds pretty freaking utopian. And I want to challenge people, regardless of where they currently stand in their life, in terms of whatever the challenges that they perceive as where they stand today. And they're like, yummy delicious. I'm so far from yummy delicious, but this is about beginning the process. Okay. And you can't step into a reality that you don't think you deserve. And so if you want better for yourself, and I know everyone wants better for themselves, you have to you have to allow yourself the opportunity to have it. Les Brown, lots of people have said you got to fake it till you make it. Not necessarily the most constructive thing, because some people may feel that that's being fraudulent. But let me say to you that the nature of how highly successful people get there is that they visualize the new reality before it happened. And I tend to use performers in this. LeBron James will say, I visualize myself sinking the shot to win the world championship before I even got into the NBA. Tiger Woods, I visualized myself sinking that putt to win the Masters long before he even was a pro. I used to, as a kid, it was Jerry West back in LA. I was 3, 2, 1, West turn. I visualized myself winning that. Performers, I saw myself in Carnegie Hall singing that song. I saw myself giving an effective presentation to the chief credit officer when I was at JP Morgan. You have to see yourself in these new realities long before they're there. And so if you want that yummy, delicious life, you have to visualize it before it will ever arrive.
Right. Now, the words yummy, delicious, I mean,
we got about 60 seconds, just so you know. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. The words yummy, delicious. I would dare anybody who's listening on this program to say those 2 words and not feel better. I mean, I swear to God.
Yummy, delicious.
We have tricks for doing things, but when you taste something that's so yummy, delicious, you can't help but go, that's so good. That's what I want your life to be about. That's what I want my life to be about. I want to help people reach that feeling, because it's not everlasting, but the more we feel it, the more it becomes part of our natural way of being.
So Shelley Whizin, thank you so much. She's got the Better Life Challenge. She's got a Facebook page on that. You can find her on TikTok. You can find her on Instagram.
That's true.
And obviously, I will be posting, because I did record this, I'll be posting this on my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel. So with that, Shelley, all the best. Thank you as always for coming and hanging out with me for a little while. And to everyone else, you guys have an outstanding weekend. We'll see you next week. You're listening to Profiles and Perspectives on WIDU.